Hello, everybody. This is my part two. I just had to stop because I felt this urge to cough. Um, so, so I'm just gonna go into a series of dreams that actually impacted my life, right, and strengthened my faith. Uh, the second one that I believe is very pivotal was it was the days leading up to, actually, the night prior to my baptism. I didn't even know the significance of a baptism. I just wanted to do it. And what happened was that the night of my baptism, there was, the demons would just literally manifest in front of me, like in the ceiling, side of me. And it got to the point where I wasn't even scared by it anymore. I was just annoyed and very frustrated because at the time I thought I was doing everything right. But even if I did everything right, they'd still be there, right? So I was just crying like a baby, I'm not gonna lie. And I asked God, why did you even make us? And when I said that, I just heard a sound that sounded like waterfalls, rivers, and oceans just moving hard, like running water. And it made a sound, and it was very, very audible. Like there was no mistaking what it said. The voice said, "Because I was lonely." And when I heard him say that, I was like, "What?" And immediately he gave me three dreams. The first dream, and by the way, these dreams are symbolic, right? Spiritual. They're not prophetic. All right. Don't expect these things to happen. The first dream, I was in I believe I was in the United States. It looked war torn. Vehicles were destroyed, and there was a young lady there. She was holding a baby, and I looked at her. I'm like, we gotta keep moving because Jesus is on his way. Because Jesus is coming. That was my exact words. Jesus is coming. We got to be on our way. We got to keep moving. Right. The second dream, I was I was in jail, in prison or something. I had a blue uniform. I knew I was in prison because I was a Christian. So because of that, I knew that's why I was in prison. The second dream, the third dream, it was all white space, and there was a tarantula right in front of me. Right, and I just caught my hand doing this right here, going towards the tarantula, right? And as soon as I got close enough to touch it, it just reared its fangs at me like that, right? When it did that, I heard a loud sound. It sounded like a foghorn. When the foghorn went off, it literally just it woke me up. And when I woke up, I still heard the sound. It was so deep, and my whole body was just shaking like a tuning fork. And I stayed there for about 5 seconds, and then it disappeared. I went ahead and shared this testimony with the church, and they all praised God for it. But nothing changed. I over time I still went back to my old self. Um, I remember when I went to Germany. When I went to Germany afterwards, right? I remember after my firstborn after she was born, I had a out of body experience again, but I didn't want it to happen. It just happened. I'm just in my room, in my bedroom, and then the bedroom just disappears, and I hear a voice say, "Come to me, my son." So I look up at the sky, and I'm like, no, that voice came from down there. I look down, and all I see are black clouds and lightning. And I look down there. I said, God is not down there. And then Satan replied, "You're a bright one, aren't you?" And I woke up. I woke up angry. Um, soon after that, Jesus gave me a dream where he showed me something special. Uh, kind of personal too. I was let me paint a picture. The landscape was all black, right? The ground was all black. It was like there was no ground, but it was just black. And there was a man lying down, and the only light in the area was just emanating from that man that was laying down on the ground, and he was dead. Around this man, there were these white rose petals outlining his body. The man was completely nude, with the exception of a loincloth that was covering his backside. Um, he was laying face down on the floor with his head pointed to the left. So I was looking at this man intently, right? He had brown skin, pretty muscular, and I looked at his hair, very thick hair, like like a if I could, almost like wool or like a lion's mane. You know how they have that thick hair, sort of looked like. And and then I looked at his face, but his face was just so bloodied and bruised. I couldn't see any facial features because of his face being so swollen. And yeah, his body was bruised and bloodied. When I looked at his hair again, and I saw this thorn just sticking out of his hair slightly. And I looked at his face again, like that, right? I looked at his face, and his face was so swollen, you could barely see the crown of thorns underneath his swollen skin. And when I saw that, that's when I knew that was Jesus Christ. That was his body, right? I started crying. I started crying so hard. I don't think I ever recall crying so hard. Mm, the only other time I cried so hard was when I met the Father. But this cry right here was different. I felt complicit. I felt like I don't know. I felt so bad, like guilty for it. Like I felt guilty for his death, and I was just crying. I was crying so hard. And then I got taken to another dream. It was all black again, with a white circle. Kind of reminded me of if you ever watch those old Looney Tunes cartoons with the circle. That's what it looked like, right? Just the circle itself. And in this circle, I was a little confused because the Jesus Christ that was there was definitely not the Jesus Christ that I saw over there in that circle. He was looking at me. He had a smile. He was like with two thumbs up. He was like, you know, like he overcame. It's okay. He's okay. He overcame and he conquered. Uh, so that's when I figured out that the Jesus Christ that walked this world is not his body. His physical appearance is not the same appearance as Jesus Christ, the resurrected Christ. So anyway, I don't think that's too important, but just something to point out. So, uh, so I remember after this dream, I was trying to be good. I was trying not to sin, and I would go for a little time without sinning. But then life hits you. You get angry at stupid things. You hate people. You dislike people. You just sin. So years later, years later, um, I was literally in a Penske truck. I was a passenger in a Penske truck, and I was turning my head to the side because I didn't want to see. I didn't want the driver to see me crying, right? Because I was crying for like a few hours. I was just praying to. I was praying to Jesus. I was like, Jesus, I can't do this on my own. No matter how good I try to be, I always fail. As a matter of fact, Jesus, everything I do in my life, I always fail. I can't do anything apart from you. I can't do anything. That's what I told him. I was like, I told him I'm a failure. I can't succeed in anything. I need you. I can't. I can't stop sinning. I tell him I stop for a little while and then I go back to it. I just can't. I need your help. I was just praying this for like a couple of hours. That night I go to bed, and as soon as my eyes closed, it's like a movie started playing. Um, there was a black sheep there, and now I know that the sheep was black because it was unholy. So the black sheep was just was like laying there wounded, right? Oh, this is a part of the dream that I always forget to mention. There were wolves there, and these wolves were attacking the sheep. They were biting it from its rear and its legs, and they were wounding him, and he was wounded. And then a bright light came from in front of the sheep, and the wolves ran. The uh, the I was looking at the sheep's eye, and I could see the hand going like this to touch the sheep. And but when I looked at that sheep's eye, I realized that that sheep was me. And and I remember just his thoughts became my thoughts, and I started saying to myself, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I'm so sorry." And the hand just went like this, and just before the hand touches sheep, I wake up. Well, I didn't wake up. I opened my eyes. I was like, I was like, what's going on here? I closed my eyes again to see if I could resume it. Nothing. And then I fall asleep, right? And that night was I got taken to a dream. I was in that hotel room, and when I wake up in that hotel room, it was very evil. There was a bunch of demons running around. You could see them flying outside the window, but I wasn't scared or anything. I just hear Jesus saying, "Follow me," so I followed him. And then he opened the door in front of me, and you could see the demons in there. He said to me, "Cast these demons out." So I enter the room, and I say, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave." So they leave. And then there's a bright flash of light, and now I'm in the room, in a different room, and it looks very pristine, very heavenly, very clean. It's I see his attendant standing from the other side of the bed. It was a big bed too, and he was folding my robes. There was these white robes that he was folding, and next to my robes was my normal white clothes, my normal black jeans that I was wearing, and there was a spirit on my left. I looked at him and I said to him, "Who are you?" He said to me, "I'm an angel of God." And then I looked at the robes, and before I even thought about reaching to grab it, he said to me, "You're not ready for those yet." And so, yeah, he told me that, and I was a little saddened, but it didn't last very long. He just transported me. We were standing in front of the mirror in the same room. We're just looking at each other. I'm looking at him like, what's going on here? I'm looking at him. I'm studying his face, right? And he's just smiling at me the whole time. And he just turns around and walks away. And I said to him, "What's your name?" And he looks at me, smiles, and turns away and walks away. I chase after him, but as soon as I go through the door and look left, it's like an infinite hallway. So he was gone. And that was another pivotal dream that I had that leads up to where I am right now. I'm going to cut the video off right now. I'm going to make a part 3.